Hi, I'm Naima Latif, and if you're watching this, that means you're one of the 4.6 billion people from around the world who are using an electronic device to talk to people. In these times, people are using the internet to talk to everybody. Friends, neighbors, family members, co-workers. People are on their cell phones and computers all day long. Now, if you're in business, that is great news. That means you can sell your products and services all day long and never have to leave your home. All you need is a media connection, somebody to connect you to an audience. And that's why I'm talking to you today. We produce programs, and our audience members are people who shop. They buy clothes, food, beauty supplies, cleaning supplies, home repair, transportation services, child care services. Whatever you're selling, they need to buy it. We're your media connection. Just follow this link, and tomorrow you can sit back and relax at home while your business is making you money.
Blog Talk Radio.
Women have the power to transform this world. We can end crime and violence if we all agree to do one thing: share. Let's share our wisdom, share our time, share our talent, share our finances, but most of all, let's share our love. This is the Female Solution. Join me, Naima Latif, every morning, 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. Central Standard Time, as we bring you stimulating discussions about the issues affecting our lives. If you're listening online at www.blogtalkradio.com/the-female-solution, press the blue button that says follow and get our daily topics every morning directly to your email and your smartphone. Hi, I'm Naima Latif, Executive Producer of the Female Solution Radio Show. We invite you to call in 515-605-9325 and participate in this daily think tank as we examine the challenges we face and develop solutions that restore peace and harmony. We are global transformers, changing the world from the way it is to the way it should be. We are one. Wherever we live on this earth, we are one human family. On behalf of our team of radio hosts, I'd like to extend a greeting to all the members of our family, whenever and wherever you may be listening around the world. To our family in China, Ni Hao. In India, Namaste. In Japan, Konnichiwa. In Korea, Annyeonghaseyo. In Russia, Здравствуйте. In Germany, Guten Tag. In Poland, Dzień dobry. In France, Bonjour. In Spain, Hola. In Italy, Ciao. In Egypt, Ahlan wa sahlan. In Ghana, Akwaba. In Nigeria, Peleo. In South Africa, Sawubona. In Senegal, Nangadef. In Kenya, Jambo. In Israel, Shalom. In Pakistan, Afghanistan, Palestine, and Saudi Arabia, Assalamu alaikum. Greetings, and may peace be upon you all. Join us live on the On Air Radio Network. Call 727-731-5192. We want to talk to you. The Female Solution Global Radio TV Show invites you to an invigorating, empowering, interactive conversation with our team of hosts Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. Central Time. Start your week with Monday Morning Mindfulness with Zelda Speaks. Tuesdays, Gathering of the Griots with Asada. Wednesdays, Repairing Family Relationships with Naima and co-host Kareem Hamid. Thursdays, Veggie Brunch Live with Angela. Fridays, Health and Well-Being with Beata. Saturdays, tune in 12 noon to 2 p.m. Central Time. First Saturday, Global Talks with Zana. Second Saturday, Walk in Your Divine Authority with Mama Joy. Third Saturday, Move Around with Deborah. Fourth Saturday, be a judge on the virtual Teens, Tweens, and Tots Talent Contest. And fifth Saturday, join us on location as we conversate at the Elevate Cafe, owner Jackie Brooks. Sundays, join us 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Central Time for Soul Purpose Healing with Beata. Go to thefemalesolution.com to join us on our video or audio live streaming platforms. Listen at www.blogtalkradio.com/the-female-solution. Call in on the Blog Talk Radio Network 515-605-9325 or call in and comment on the On Air Radio Network 727-731-5192. We want to hear from you. Yes, we do want to hear from you. I'm Naima Latif, and you're watching the Female Solution Global Radio TV show. And this is an opportunity for you to make your voice heard today, because we're talking about that which is in the minds of so many people today. Election 2024. Well, you've had a chance to hear some electrifying speeches. And today, as we address our global audience and recognize that so much of what happens in America affects the world, we're going to talk to you about that today and give you a chance to weigh in as we hear from our own political commentator, attorney Wende Williams. She'll be joining us to give some insight about this whole process. And having been an attorney along with the former Attorney General, Vice President Kamala Harris, she's got another point of view about what really happens behind the scenes in politics. So we'll be joined by our co-host Kareem Hamid and our American Muslim 360 family, and we invite you to call in 515-605-9325, or you can call in on our On Air Radio Network at 727-731-5192, because we do want to hear from you. And we'll be right back after these brief messages. And we want you to think about what you've been hearing over these last few weeks. Does it really sound like America is ready for a truly diverse population where everyone has equal opportunity? And can we elect Vice President Kamala Harris and her running mate as the new leadership of America? We'll be right back to talk about that and join with our co-host, Kareem Hamid, and we want to hear from you. Give us a call, 515-605-9325 or 727-731-5192. We'll be right back, so stay with us.
Hi, I'm Naima Latif, and if you're watching this, that means you're one of the 4.6 billion people from around the world who are using an electronic device to talk to people. In these times, people are using the internet to talk to everybody. Friends, neighbors, family members, co-workers. People are on their cell phones and computers all day long. Now, if you're in business, that is great news. That means you can sell your products and services all day long and never have to leave your home. All you need is a media connection, somebody to connect you to an audience. And that's why I'm talking to you today. We produce programs, and our audience members are people who shop. They buy clothes, food, beauty supplies, cleaning supplies, home repair, transportation services, child care services. Whatever you're selling, they need to buy it. We're your media connection. Just follow this link, and tomorrow you can sit back and relax at home while your business is making you money. And we are back, and we're going to come right back with our co-host, Kareem Hamid, after this.
Hi, I'm Barbara.
I'm Cheryl.
And I'm Naima. We're three Black moms.
And in case you didn't notice the resemblance, we're also three sisters.
We're going to be coming to you every week, sharing our successes and our mistakes as we navigate our lives as moms, wives, sisters, daughters, and of course, Black women in today's world.
We'll talk about it all: race, politics, religion, economics, culture, and we'll take a look at everything from whether or not to use corporal punishment to how do you teach your children about sex.
Look for our upcoming book, Growing Up Charles. It's a personal story about our lives growing up in Maple Park on Chicago's South Side. I'm Barbara.
I'm Cheryl.
And I'm Naima. We're three Black moms. Follow us on Facebook and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Three Black Moms. And we are back. You're listening to and watching the Female Solution Global Radio TV show. I'm Naima Latif, along with our co-host, Kareem Hamid, and our American Muslim 360 family. And let's see if we are able to connect with our co-host on the switchboard. And Kareem, are you able to see our number on the switchboard there? Yes, I'm not hearing you from the switchboard yet, but we will certainly keep you on until we do. And one of the things that, yeah, it should be coming through this phone. Yes. All right. Well, what I do, I'll keep you on until we can make sure that we hear you on the radio network. And as many of you know, we are daily reporting on the events happening at the DNC. We had our news crew out last night from the On Air Daily News. And that's a daily news site that keeps you informed, but also gives you a chance to interact and leave your comments as you see and hear news happening. And we certainly are excited to be able to bring to you the events from the convention. We're going to pull up on the screen here a bit last night. You know, it was quite electrifying. And we've got a caller on the line. Let me bring in. And if you've got a comment, we want to hear from you. Last night, I guess I can say former president. I don't know. They always keep the title President Barack Obama spoke. And he was preceded by the fabulous Michelle Obama, who introduced him. And before that was preceded by the vice president's husband that we don't hear from very often, and Douglas Emhoff, who is her very loyal, very praising husband. Gave a little bit of personal insight about their relationship and her perspective and all of those things that humanizes her in the eyes of people. That's what, your spouse is supposed to do. So people go, oh, they're just regular. I can vote for them. But we want to get your thoughts. And let me open the mic for area code 319. Give us your name, where you're calling from, and your thoughts.
Good morning. This is Akufi.
Good morning, Kufi. Well, this is Naima and Kareem and all of our listening and viewing audience as we take a look at what we're seeing and hearing on the screen during the Democratic National Convention. And it's quite a show for those who understand production. That it is a show for sure. So what are your thoughts? Have you been watching?
Yeah, I glanced at it a little bit. I'm a realist. I don't get caught up in a lot of drama. I'm a no frills type of guy, but I watched it and it was a show. A lot of hip hop. I felt like it was a concert,
Yeah, very good production quality. Absolutely.
Yeah, I've never seen that before. That was a first. I feel like somebody's overselling something that I may not want.
Excuse me, I'm sorry to interrupt, but Naima,
hold on, Kufi. Hold on a second. Hold on, Kufi. Hold on a second. We want to address some technical issues that AM 360 may be having. So, are you able to hear us on your switchboard, Kareem?
No. I asked a caller if we were being heard, and they said no. I have your mic open, but I'm on the phone with you now.
I mean, we can hear you, but they can't hear.
Right.
Okay, so the 347 number, you have that open?
Yes.
All right, and I have.
It's on the board twice.
Oh, really? You should only be on there once. Only call them once. You sure that's the right one?
Let me see. 347-498.
I'm not sure.
005.
Yeah, that should be it. Yes.
Huh?
So I'm not sure of the technical reason why you're not able to hear us.
What I'll do, I'll hang up one of these lines that's showing you a number.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that might help. I'm not sure. Okay. Just hung it up. But I'm on the AM 360 board, and we're just not hearing any audio from you. I have you on my phone. What I'll do is I'll merge both calls here.
Oh, okay. All right.
That might work. Okay, merging now.
As he testified until his final day, serving alongside the item and his community by establishing both a national broadcasting network and national intelligence, connecting our heart, intellect, and our work. So join us. That's August 26, 2019 at 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. You will be inspired. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Naima?
Yes. All right.
Okay. I can hear you.
All right. We'll just keep it as is, so that you can hear me. There's not an echo.
Okay. I had a talking point to start with.
Okay, go right ahead, Kofi. Are you able to hear our caller?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. My only concern with Kamala and the Democratic Party, if they would drop this binary teaching of our children, our innocent children, because I see the effects in the community. Little girls want to grow up and marry a woman. Little boys want to grow up and marry a man. I've never ever experienced that in my life, and I think that it's so disgusting that what I'm experiencing and seeing, and this is coming from the Democratic agenda. If they would drop that, I will vote for her. I will vote for her. If they would drop that curriculum, I'll put her in office. Otherwise, not at all. That's the only problem I have with the Democratic Party. That's a major issue because I see the effects of what it's done in the. I'm in the hood. I'm in the community. I live in the hood. I have to correct so many young girls with their mothers. Mommy, I want to grow up and marry a woman. And I go, no. Romans chapter 1. That's despicable. That's an abomination. And the mother tells me, oh, please teach my daughter something. She's been inundated with this stuff. Okay? I'm experiencing this. This is what I'm experiencing from what they have brought, teaching, bringing drag queens to teach our kindergarten children this binary stuff. It has brought our humanity down. It has destroyed humanity. So if they would just drop that agenda, drop that curriculum, I'll vote for them. Otherwise, they can't play any music. She can't laugh and do nothing to sway me. That's the only issue I have with the Democratic Party. And if adults go along with that, you have a problem. How can you accept teaching our children something like that? How can you go along with that without blowing a whistle, saying, wait. I'm sorry. Okay? Now, I stood up as a man, as a heterosexual man. I stood up today, which I do every day. But I see the effects of what this has done in the community. I'm watching it. I go outside and it's overwhelming to see what that has caused and has destroyed our community. Broken homes, broken families. You see nothing but a woman with a walking her dog. She doesn't want to have nothing to do with a man anymore. Men are scared to date women anymore. These are facts that's going on right now. It's all across the internet. If you look on the internet, that's all they're talking about is relationships and how I don't need a man. And I tell people, wait a minute, so you don't need a man? No, I don't need a man. I said, well, if your mother felt like that, you wouldn't be in existence. She goes, oh, I didn't think about it like that. If your mother felt like you wouldn't be here. If your mother thought like what you're thinking right now, you would not be here on this planet. So, all the excitement and all that, with the Obama bringing 5 years old, you change the sex without the approval of your parents. That's sick. That's my problem. Maybe it's just me, but I hear other people speaking on it. I look at the policies that they have brought. You can't laugh at all. You can't cuckold anymore. You know, Kamala Harris was in a meeting with an asked about Ukraine, and she's like, no, I can't. No. That's not gonna go. You can't just laugh at every situation.
Well, Kofi, and
that's my problem.
And I appreciate you expressing your thought. There are a lot of people who, for them, this election comes down to a lot of issues that are involving other people's sexuality, which I find interesting because some things that other people do not affect your life, and yet these are a lot of the topics that generate a lot of emotion. And other people's sexuality is one of them. We heard a lot from the Republican Party about the abortion rights and the language that things are couched in. A woman's right to choose. They had a lot of speakers on Monday night that addressed things. Let me finish this sentence, and then you can ask your question. Let me finish this sentence. Then you ask your question. One of the things that was observed was that. Wait a minute, Kofi. Don't make me have to close your mic. I want you to be self-managed, so I don't have to do that. One of the things that came up was when women had life-threatening situations and needed to have the fetus removed from their wombs, that was interfered with because of the policies created under the Trump administration. And a lot of people speak against the idea of abortion because in their minds, it's all about people having sex without responsibility and then wanting the state to pay for abortion. And it's about other people's sexuality in their minds, which is why they're against abortion. And it comes down to judging other people's sexual habits and what they think about those sexual habits and what they're believing is the reason behind abortion, as opposed to the health issues that people raised on Monday night. Now, the issue that you're raising about other people's sexuality, whether or not they identify as male or female, or they're not sure for whatever emotional reasons, again, it's about other people's sexuality. And again, the question is, how is that affecting your life? How is that affecting your life? And even how is that affecting your children's lives? So Cooper, you had a question you were going to ask. Oops.
I don't know.
So now you were going to ask a question. So how is that affecting your children? Other people's sexuality, how is that affecting your children?
It's not, because I told my children what's going on.
Okay, so then why is that an issue for you?
Because I walk outside and I see something I see totally different. When a child don't have a father to explain that, and I see the chaos in their eyes. I see the hatred and the loss. They seem like they're just lost. My question to you is: you're a teacher. Would you teach a child that he's not a boy or girl?
You can't teach a person what they are. The person defines what they are.
Would you?
Why would I do that? My job is to discover what they are, not to teach them what they are. They already know what they are. They're going to tell me who they are.
That's not even.
No, you define yourself. You come to this world and you define yourself. No one teaches you whether you're a boy or girl. You are who you are. So that's a fear that people have. And that's one of the things that will surface during this campaign.
Don't disturb that. Don't disturb it. I'm very comfortable in my skin. I love being a black man. You ever heard of white privilege?
All the time.
You heard that, right?
All the time.
I got black privilege. I got black privilege. You know what that is? My privilege is enjoying the sun.
Well, then, if you're enjoying the sun, why are you letting other people's sexuality disturb your peace? Why are you doing that to yourself?
I said it's the children. It's the innocent. I'm protecting the children, the innocent ones.
But why are you believing that children don't have the power to protect themselves? They know who they are. You can't make a person be what they're not. They're only who they are. They're explaining, this is how I feel about who I am.
I'm watching children. You know why? You know why black men fight every day and kill each other?
Why?
Because most of them have been molested. Most of them have been molested.
And that's the fear that surfaces. And I'm gonna tell you something, Kofi, and then we gotta take a break, and then we're gonna bring in our guest. But I'm gonna tell you something, Kofi. What I have observed when people are triggered, when they are emotionally triggered to respond to other people's sexuality, usually it has to do with them being violated in some way sexually, and this is why that's surfacing for some people.
I've never been violated.
Or they have been affected by someone else's sexuality.
I'm very comfortable. I'm very comfortable with myself. I'm speaking as a heterosexual man, as a man of God. I do not accept them teaching our children that they can decide whether they're a boy or girl or binary. That's not someone else's decision. I'm watching the effects of it in our community for the last 4 or 5 years strong, and that's the problem I'm having. The talking point that's my problem. And if I got to make a video about it and put it publicly, I would.
Well, that's the power of the media. You absolutely have that power to do that.
I'm definitely going to put it out, but that's not God. You know what I believe in, and I'm going to let you go. I don't believe in God or the devil.
Well, that's a start.
Good. I believe in good and evil.
Well,
that's it.
That's your thought.
There is no devil, but there's good and evil. And teaching our children that they can change their sex, that's evil.
Okay. Well, Kofi, you've made your statement. We're going to take a break. We're going to take a break, and I thank you so much for making that comment. Before we take a break, we can respond.
To speak with Kofi on that. That's a very important issue. If you could stay on the line.
Yeah, stay on with us, Kofi, and we'll bring you back to respond to our response. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back with attorney Wende Williams. She's got some insight that you want to hear. We'll be right back after this quick break, and we invite you to stick and stay. Don't stray away. And if you've been watching, of course, we've been showing you some of the election coverage and issues from the On Air Daily News. You can get that at onairDailyNews.com. And we'll be right back after this quick break. So stick and stay. Don't stray away. Give us a call, 515-605-9325 or 515-605-9891. And we'll open your mic and get your thoughts. And we'll be right back. So stay with us. The Female Solution Global Radio TV Show invites you to an invigorating, empowering, interactive conversation with our team of hosts Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. Central Time. Start your week with Monday Morning Mindfulness with Zelda Speaks. Tuesdays, Gathering of the Griots with Asada. Wednesdays, Repairing Family Relationships with Naima and co-host Kareem Hamid. Thursdays, Veggie Brunch Live with Angela. Fridays, Health and Well-Being with Beata. Saturdays, tune in 12 noon to 2 p.m. Central Time. First Saturday, Global Talks with Zana. Second Saturday, Walk in Your Divine Authority with Mama Joy. Third Saturday, Move Around with Deborah. Fourth Saturday, be a judge on the virtual Teens, Tweens, and Tots Talent Contest. And fifth Saturday, join us on location as we conversate at the Elevate Cafe, owner Jackie Brooks. Sundays, join us 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Central Time
for Soul Purpose Healing with Beata. Go to thefemalesolution.com to join us on our video or audio live streaming platforms. Listen at www.blogtalkradio.com/the-female-solution. Call in on the Blog Talk Radio Network 515-605-9325 or call in and comment on the On Air Radio Network 727-731-5192. We want to hear from you.
Hi, I'm Barbara.
I'm Cheryl.
And I'm Naima. We're three Black moms.
And in case you didn't notice the resemblance, we're also three sisters.
We're going to be coming to you every week, sharing our successes and our mistakes as we navigate our lives as moms, wives, sisters, daughters, and of course, Black women in today's world.
We'll talk about it all: race, politics, religion, economics, culture, and we'll take a look at everything from whether or not to use corporal punishment to how do you teach your children about sex.
Look for our upcoming book, Growing Up Charles. It's a personal story about our lives growing up in Maple Park on Chicago's South Side. I'm Barbara.
I'm Cheryl.
And I'm Naima. We're three Black moms. Follow us on Facebook and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Three Black Moms.
And we are back. You're listening to and watching the Female Solution Global Radio TV show. I'm Naima Latif, along with our co-host Kareem Hamid and our American Muslim 360 family. And I want to bring to our live line our guest today. This, of course, is our dear good friend and one with some insight on politics. She's run for judge a few times. She's been in the courtroom with some of the most powerful, well-known attorneys across the nation, and she has been an advocate for family law and has given us a lot of insight about relationships. So, of course, Kofi, we're sure that you'd love to hear some of her perspectives about this very hot-button issue about other people's sexuality. Let's bring to the stage our dear sister, attorney Wende Williams. Thank you for joining us today, Wende.
Good morning, good morning, good morning.
Yes.
How are you? Thank you for that introduction. I had to look at my own resume. Is that me? when you're living through these events and meeting people and your own life activities, I gotta tell you, it's an interesting feeling. All I know is I'm driving forward. That's all I know. Wende Williams has goals, and you just drive towards those goals. But it's interesting how you're viewed and what people think of your energy and your goals and the directions that you take in your life and what you say and what you do. But I'm just Wende. I'm just Wende. I'm Ruth's daughter, her oldest girl. And sometimes that's all it feels like. No matter what those credentials are, I really appreciate being part of the human race and being here to help. That's the way I see it. I'm just here to help. And if that's what help looks like to you, Naima, well, all praises due to God, from whom all blessings flow. That's all I can say.
Yes, ma'am. Well, we appreciate you so much. We appreciate you so much for coming on,
because, you know, there are a lot of people who are looking at some of these issues in the campaign, and they're getting a lot of emotions wrapped up into this. Our previous caller, Kofi, who's still online, brought up a thing that is one of the issues that surfaces when people are talking about the positions of the Democratic Party that has taken a position of inclusion, acceptance, freedom, to be who you are. And it was said several times to love who you love. And we know that the wording of that means acceptance of people who are both homosexual as well as heterosexual. And the whole idea of giving dignity, honor, and respect to everyone, however they choose to define themselves. Well, for some people, it's a hot button issue when you talk about people defining themselves according to non-traditional ways. And a lot of the religious community many of them tend to vote Republican because that party has defined itself as one upholding traditional religious values. A lot of people who are offended by what is transpiring when it comes to people's sexuality, they have issues with the Democratic Party. So you've been in family law. You've seen the breakup of a lot of families. Now, according to what the Democrats have said in these last couple of days, they see the things such as reproductive freedom, which we know that's the language being used to say women should be given the respect to allow them to make a decision to remove a fetus from their bodies if they feel like this is the best choice. And we know that for some people, that in their minds is translated as sexuality without responsibility, which leads to what Kofi was talking about, you know, the broken homes, fatherless children, and all of that. So as a family law attorney, what do you think is the real reason why our families are breaking down? And does it have anything to do with sexual identity or sex outside of marriage or any of those issues that surface when people talk about these things? What has your experience been?
The breakdown of the family is where I'd like to begin to answer this question. One of the things that is overwhelming to me is the fact that many people are really unfit to be parents. And you know, that's something I've always talked about on the radio show. What is your fitness level to even be a parent in the first place? And I'm, you know, my practice and my experience in the courtroom has exposed that. It's even the way the court system approaches it. Parenting assessments, IQ testing, criminal background, mental health, victimization, and how those things were resolved. And the country in general, Black, white, Hispanic, it just doesn't matter. If your exposure has been dysfunctional and abusive, and I can go all the way back to 1619, bringing it all the way forward to today, because, you know, this is human behavior. And there's just a general disregard for humanity, period. And that period that we were enslaved was a period in which we lost our humanity, was literally taken away from us, and we were literally referred to as chattel. But here's the real irony. If you're referring to us as chattel, how do you refer to each other? So we have a dominating And that dominating figure is oftentimes creating perversion that trickle down into our household. And so this loss of control from 1619 to a period of awareness that we have now talks about that energy that's putting this into the flow. And it's quite inhuman. You know, everything that I read and I look at, I see this overall, overarching lack of humanity, lack of respect. And then it begins to trickle down in little things like women's health care, which is what I choose to call it. This is really about women's health care. So we have a theme or an energy that dictates policy that only benefits that particular group. And, you know, and not everybody is a member of that group, but a lot of people are members of that group. And if they're dictating policy, who dictates policy in the United States? And is that policy on your radio network? Please.
I'm sorry, go right ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you. Go right ahead.
Okay. And so now you get into subsections, but it's really policy. And perverted domination and control over humanity is really where we are. Now, when we begin to dismantle it, it'll look like poverty issues, women's health care, psychological damage, how those things are resolved. Do they even want to resolve them? What part does religion play in a country where you should have freedom of religion? What happens when people talk about being a dictator? What happens when people have no regard for environmental issues? See, this is all of this. This is a platform for all. So we have one convention that wants to be as humane as possible, probably maybe too far to the left for some people's taste. And then we have another political group that wants to continue this domination and control, even if it's perverted, even if it is unhealthy. For instance, with regard to the abortion issue, it to me falls under women's health care. And a lot of the issues regarding abortion is about the viability of the pregnancy. And what I'm seeing in a lot of legislation is a total disregard for the fact that the fetus is now dead. There's no heartbeat, but she's required to carry, in some states under state law, she's still required to carry that fetus to term. And then as a lawyer, I look at how the presidential policies and the policies of the IRS that was allowed to pass under a former president was that a fetus is a person. And then you have to track the psychology of that. And you will come up against the low birth rate in a global context. So if the birth rate is dropping and there's a need to promote that so that the person suffering, the group that's suffering the most from the low birth rate pattern and event, if you will, biological event, does it stand to reason that a law would be created that, I mean, this is really convoluted. I hope you guys are following me. Because when I found that the IRS, that Congress had allowed for a fetus at inception to be called a person, and why would you want that? Is there some tax benefit? What's going on here? And I can't even unravel all of that. But I am asking those questions. You see? And at the end of the day, this need to control, where is it coming from? I stumbled on a book once written by Lothrop Stoddard. And Lothrop Stoddard was coaching the Nazis. And as a matter of fact, if you saw the movie Origin, Cast, The Origins of Our Discontent, the movie Origin comes out of that book. And about 7 years earlier, I came across Lothrop Stoddard. It's a long story I'm not going to get into, but I was tracking Margaret Sanger, and I was trying to get into her, who she was, because it turns out that she had some interaction with doctors in Harlem, and they're the ones that invited her to Harlem. And I thought, whoa, what's that all about? But anyway, that's a long story. But Lothrop Stoddard wrote a book called The Theory of the Rising Tide of Color Against White Supremacy. The Rising Tide of Color Against White Supremacy.
Wow.
Lothrop Stoddard. The book was written like 1917. I had to go to Forgotten Book Publishers to even get a copy of the book. And I was stunned at what I saw in there, which is pretty much what I'm seeing today in our political arena. So there's a fear of existence. And I'm not the first person to talk about this. I think Dr. Frances Cress Welsing talked about this in her essay, The Theory on Color Confrontation. So if a person is in fear, can we trust that they'll make good decisions for humanity, or will they panic and start making bad decisions? What am I saying? When we start talking about all of these issues, and I'm asking your audience to do the research. I think I have some perspective on this, but I could be wrong. And I'm going to open myself up that I could be wrong. But why do we have this fear? What is the rising tide of color against white supremacy? Why are we separate? Why aren't we just one human race? And then an outgrowth of that, I see, because it's written into the Constitution of the United States that we weren't even human. We were chattel. So it's not like, oh, you don't know what you're talking about. Yes, I do. Because I'm sitting here looking at the laws, and I'm looking at the laws on the books. I'm looking at the laws that are still hanging around on the books, even though we have legislation and case law. Case in point is when they overturned Roe v. Wade. If we remember, in Arizona and Wisconsin, we have now the law of the land was from 1849. Some other state it was 1860, where we have these restrictions on women's health care and women's ability to make those decisions. And I'm not talking about unwanted pregnancies. I'm not talking about the morning after. I'm talking about the woman's body and her life is in jeopardy because the pregnancy is not healthy. And therefore, it needs to be terminated to save the mother and to save the human, the woman. And we've got laws that totally disregard ectopic pregnancy. We've got laws that totally disregard women's health, her viability, that she should die along with the fetus, that she should carry emotionally a dead child when she should be relieved of that pain and that suffering. This is incredible stuff that I'm seeing and hearing. Okay?
Yes.
And so I want to encourage the research. I want you to go on Amazon and plug in women's health and see what books come up and see who's writing these books. You know, Lothrop Stoddard was part of the American Eugenics Society.
Oh,
and he's
wow.
over in Berlin. Yes. And he was a Harvard lawyer and a journalist that worked for NBC in Berlin. Let me give you another little tidbit.
Yes, and then we've got some callers that want to respond to some things you've said also. And I think I think that this is a critical thing for us to think about when you get all hyped up about the whole abortion thing and they're killing our children. I had an ectopic pregnancy. I was rushed to the emergency room. I had to have emergency surgery or I would have died. I had a tubal pregnancy that burst, and I would have died if they had not done that surgery. So these kinds of things are critical to life and death. And when people start judging other people's sexuality as the issue when it comes to a woman's right to choose, all the history that you're talking about, it has to do with our mindset, and really our pathology when it comes to our own sexuality. Why are we in such a state of confusion about sexuality, and why, as you pointed out, is it an issue of control, of condemnation, of punishment? All of these ways that we have responded out of fear of whatever it is we're fearing. But all of these inappropriate responses that we've given to the issue of childbirth, when it has to do with controlling a woman's body, this is what has to be reversed. And there's a fear that if we don't keep control of women's sexuality, then what are we fearing? Sex run amok, people having babies all over the place, not being able to take care of them, people not being responsible for the children they create. Or, is that the fear, or are we fearing, or are some men fearing, if I can't control women and their sexuality, then the woman in my life might cheat on me? I mean, is that really what the underlying fear of all this is? I mean, I don't understand the fear of other people's sexuality.
No, it's not fear of other people's sexuality. It's a control issue that, if we're not careful, can become perverted. And we see that sometimes in these court cases where the little girls are kidnapped in Ohio, chained to a basement, and forced into sexual conduct that results in children. And finally, the black man across the street saw the white girl with the chain and struggling to get through the front door. And he went over, remember? And he had been barbecuing with this guy.
I remember that case.
Barbecuing with him. Remember that? Okay.
That was a weird one.
Okay. Now, let me talk about where that comes from, because that's going to explain everything. When you start making things up to suit your fears and your concerns, you see a lot of this. Oh, God, I hope I'm not stepping on any toes. But you see this in programs where people are trying to recover. For instance, I always, when I had my show, I always introduced a book. That's just my training as a lawyer. I'm not the expert, but I am presenting the experts in a courtroom situation. And John Bradshaw, he talked a lot about family. And religion comes in here because it is considered the original book of laws that we want to adhere to. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to get into that because, again, as a trainee, I was instructed to read all scriptures because I don't know who's sitting on that jury that could be offended by something you say. My client did or I said. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so I look at the source of people's behavior, and much of it is in scriptures. Mm-hmm. And then I look at who's writing the scriptures. I look at the fact that the King of England was also the head of the church. Mm. And we know how that came about. Mm-hmm. That came about because Henry VIII, the King of England, was looking for heir. So he separated from the Catholic Church. And then I have to look at I've got everybody lined up for that summer as a trainee. I read the Book of Mormons. I read the Vita, the Hindu book, 2 or 3 versions of the Bible, the Quran. I read the Torah, the lost books of the Bible,
Wow.
then that leads me off into, you see what I'm saying? So the source of our behavior is coming from sources that we're using that we feel are, or think that, or some people listening know that it all came from God. Like, for instance, I think there are Black males, and I'm going to go ahead and say this, who don't feel like Kamala should be president of the United States because their scripture says that a woman should not sit in those kinds of high positions.
That's an issue that I'd like us to explore, because that is an underlying belief that many men have, as you said, from their religious training.
White, Black, Hispanic.
Yes, and it deeply into the culture, and that's what's going to surface. That's an attitude that's going to surface the more we get into the idea of her being in that leadership role. Those deeply ingrained programming issues will come up. And what is the fear? And is there a belief that God said that women don't have leadership abilities? Is there a belief that God is male? I mean,
no. Of course there's a belief. The Garden of Eden said that Eve did this, that, and the other, and she should not have. And I'm not going to get into the interpretation.
But that's a belief system that people have, and that will affect their voting, because it is a program that has been it's an indoctrination that they have.
Yes, that the woman is a temptress, that this is why all of this brouhaha about her sexuality.
There we go.
All the brouhaha about every woman.
That's the illness that we have to, that's the sickness inside of us that we have to heal. Because we don't know it's there, but that's what it is. That sick belief.
And that's going to
and that's
going to end up in the voting booth unnecessarily. And so for the men and women who believe that the woman is inherently evil. Okay, are these the same people that believe that Blacks were inherently inferior?
Mm-hmm.
See,
yeah.
All this is
it's all tied together.
Use the Bible
programming
with what was his name? Nat Turner. Didn't they teach Nat Turner just certain parts of the Bible that had us as the most awful, inhuman on earth? And it was, now here you go. Now really listen, because this is what I'm going to say, and you can end on this. That God told me that I'm the one that knows what's best for you. Because you are inferior to me. And it's almost an inversion. Because if the first person on the planet came from the equator, I'm asking your audience, I'm not going to even answer the question. If the first person to appear on the planet came from the equator, what would he look like? Let me say it another way. What would he or she need to survive at the equator? If that
melanin.
Is the first person on the planet.
Absolutely. You got to have melanin. It protect you from those ultraviolet rays of the sun. We got to take a break. Attorney Wende Williams, but we're going to come back, and I know our co-host Kareem Hamid has some thoughts to share, especially as we look at how the role of religious beliefs or non-beliefs play into the support of candidates and political parties, and how is that going to be manifested in the voting booth this November? Our deep programming. How do we address that? We'll be right back after this quick break, and we want you all to stick and stay. Don't stray away. If you want to call in, of course, our numbers on the screen here: 515-605-9325 or 515-605-9891, or you can call in on the On Air Radio Network at 727-731-5192, because we want to talk and hear from you. We'll be right back with more from attorney Wende Williams as we take a look at, will America elect Kamala Harris president? We got some issues we got to resolve before we can make that happen. So we'll be right back after this quick break. So stay with us.
And before we go to a video, we'll be right back.
We have an opportunity to transform the whole global society in the next 50 years. 50 years from now, the earth will be populated by a new generation of adults, many of whom are yet unborn. Our mission is to nurture them in childhood with love, guidance, and protection, and to raise them in healthy, happy families. If we impart values of compassion, generosity, and respect for fellow human beings in the next generation of children, they will create a world where people can live together in peace. This is our goal. Be a part of the transformation. Get your copy of the book, The Female Solution. Go to www.naimalatif.com. That's www.naimalatif.com.
And we'll be right back after these brief messages. And we want you all to stick and stay. Don't stray away. We'll be back with attorney Wende Williams to take a look at what's in your mind and heart and how that's going to affect the way you vote this November. We'll be right back in just a moment. The Female Solution Global Radio TV Show invites you to an invigorating, empowering, interactive conversation with our team of hosts Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. Central Time. Start your week with Monday Morning Mindfulness with Zelda Speaks. Tuesdays, Gathering of the Griots with Asada. Wednesdays, Repairing Family Relationships with Naima and co-host Kareem Hamid. Thursdays, Veggie Brunch Live with Angela. Fridays, Health and Well-Being with Beata. Saturdays, tune in 12 noon to 2 p.m. Central Time. First Saturday, Global Talks with Zana. Second Saturday, Walk in Your Divine Authority with Mama Joy. Third Saturday, Move Around with Deborah. Fourth Saturday, be a judge on the virtual Teens, Tweens, and Tots Talent Contest. And fifth Saturday, join us on location as we conversate at the Elevate Cafe, owner Jackie Brooks. Sundays, join us 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Central Time for Soul Purpose Healing with Beata. Go to thefemalesolution.com to join us on our video or audio live streaming platforms. Listen at www.blogtalkradio.com/the-female-solution. Call in on the Blog Talk Radio Network 515-605-9325 or call in and comment on the On Air Radio Network 727-731-5192. We want to hear from you.
Ọlọ́dún ló máa mọ̀ọ́dún rẹ̀ lọ́dún. Fẹ́ àìtútù gbé tutù dé. Yoruba 2024 Cultural Exchange Festival. Welcome to the 15th anniversary of the First Eye concert in the heart of Chicago. 2024 brings a celebration that speaks to the soul. We are diving deep into the roots of Yoruba heritage, exploring its global impact and vibrant spirit. From September 1st to September 6th, Chicago becomes a melting pot of culture and connection. Tí ọkùnrin, obìnrin, ọmọdé, àgbàlagbà á jọ wá papọ̀ láti ṣe àgbélárugẹ àṣà wa. I mean, whether you are a seasoned traveler or a curious explorer, there is something for you. Join us for immersive tours, thought-provoking discussions, and unforgettable performances. Àti pé nání Owanilani, feel the pulse of the city as we gather at the Malcolm X College Auditorium. A day filled with reading, style, and inspiration. On September 7th, we come together for a grand finale cultural award gala night, celebrating the incredible women who shape our world. Agbajo Wobai Lafin Soya, Kemigbe, Kiwogbe. Let's
And we are back. You're listening to and watching the Female Solution Global Radio TV show. I'm Naima Latif, along with our co-host Kareem Hamida. As you've seen at that last commercial, I'll be honored at an event coming up September 7th. Looking forward to all of my friends and crew coming and sharing in that wonderful event, the celebration, this wonderful cultural experience where we will see many women of substance honored. And I'm grateful for First Eye Concept. He was our guest last week to have honored us and given us an opportunity to expose the female solution to a global audience. We're excited because every day we get a chance to talk to the world and hear what the world has to say. And this is why we address these issues that affect the world. And who America elects in leadership is going to affect the world. This year is particularly historic in that we have an opportunity to elect someone who has been a part of that long repressed class of human beings, females. And we have a chance to address our fears about female leadership and our programming about females. Number one, being that seductive temptress that can control a man through her sexuality. You have some deep-seated psychosis, fears that men have about that, and the need to control a woman's body, fearing that if that's not legally under control. And that's what marriage has been defined as, a man owning a woman as property. So as we evolve out of those kinds of belief systems, we see that there are remnants of it still existing and still being taught in scriptures, still being adhered to by many religious organizations that have in fact subjugated women as part of a practice. There's a mindset that some people are of greater value than others. And that does not have a basis in the true spirit of the Creator. All beings are of equal value. But are we ready to evolve to that understanding? But that's going to be challenged in this upcoming election because there are people who can't let go of old scriptures written by frightened old men that say women should neither be seen nor heard and should not be in positions of leadership. Are we ready to evolve out of that ancient ignorance? This is the time to talk about it.
Well, that's the question.
That is a question. So, Kareem, I know you've probably got some callers on your switchboard, and we still have Kufi on the line. It may have some additional comments. But But Kareem, this is an issue that comes up in the Muslim community often, because there are some things that people feel very deeply about. And sexuality, the uncontrolled sexuality, or whatever the case may be, is part of a lot of the cultural separation of the sexes. The idea is, well, if you don't interact, then you won't engage in sex without being married. And because if you engage in sex without being married, then you'll have children that aren't properly cared for, and you'll have irresponsibility, and you'll have orphans, and all of those things. So the idea is, well, don't even be around each other, and don't even see each other. Women, okay, you have these bodies that men are attracted to, cover up everything, then they won't be attracted to you. Okay, so that's all part of that thinking. How do we control human sexuality? That's a big deal. But what is the real underlying issue? Is the real underlying issue a belief that other people are not of equal value, therefore are not worthy of equal respect? Because if you respect someone, you will never violate their physical body. You will not violate them by touching them unwantedly. And you will not violate them by forcing them into a sexually intimate condition that they did not consent to. And you would not violate them by restricting their free movement because they have to live in fear of being violated. So what is it that we need to correct in our humanity in order for us to allow everybody to excel according to their own personal skills and abilities? So, Kareem, what are your thoughts on this?
Naima, there are people that would be identified as a hammer. And everything they see becomes a nail. An overblown position. Every infraction is an infraction against women. Everything they see, because they are a hammer, and they put that label on everything.
Mm-hmm.
But now, you mentioned an important word, the Creator. Mm-hmm. If we acknowledge that we didn't create ourselves, and He who created us knows us better than we even know ourselves. And the Creator is known by many names, and most of them are beautiful and most excellent. But along with the creation of the human being, we have to bear in mind that there is an enemy to humankind. There is an enemy to human beings that is jealous of the position that God has designated for the common person, the human being. And that type of thinking, they reject that idea that the maintenance and the responsibility of the creation is placed in the hands of the intellect that God created called Adam. And that people with that thought of, well, I have knowledge. I'm degree to the umpteenth degree. I have knowledge. But God does not want just the person of knowledge to maintain the creation, because along with knowledge, there should be an increase in mercy. And the enemy to human beings, as in English terminology, is called Satan. In the Quranic terminology, that type of thinking is identified as the shaitan. And that type of thinking expressed the idea that that we shall attack this human being that have sentiments, emotions, feelings, pliable. We shall attack him, and you will find that he's not qualified for the position that you have given him as the maintainer of the creation. So we have an avowed enemy for the human family, period. And one of the first positions of assault is to separate the male from the female, to come between a man and his wife. There's a saying that Satan asked some of his small imps what they had done on the earth. And they expressed what they had done. But the third one he asked, what had he done? And he said, I separated a husband and his wife. And the great Satan applauded him, lauded him. I separated a husband and wife. Now, let me narrow it down. As an African American community, 70% of our households are single-headed households. That's an attack on the family. 70%. The family is the foundation for society. That is where that's the first social unit is male and female. And from that, God says that he created the male and the female from one soul, from one essence. They are qualified on the basis of how they are created from one essence, one soul. And God says that from those two are scattered like seeds, countless men and women throughout the earth. Now, take focus of the terminology seeds. A seed is that which you plant, and it reproduces itself. So these are the formula. This is the pattern that the Creator has designated for us. The joining of male and female, and then to raise children. And those children, they produce children. The humanity grows. It grows. But there's an enemy to the human being that wants to disrupt that pattern. 70%, I repeat, 70% of African American households are headed by one single person heading that household. The foundation for human life, the foundation for social structure has been attacked. We are victims of that. We are victims of that. The joining of the male and female, and they reproduce themselves. You mentioned singer. I can't remember her first name, but she was a part of a science called eugenics. And this was accepted as a legitimate science. It hasn't been that long ago. If we can control the gene pool, then we can elevate those that we prefer to be at the top of humanity. So when it comes to homosexuality, lesbianism, as Muslims, we cannot license sin. Sin, S-I-N, sin. We cannot legalize sin. But we live in a country whereby sin is so prevalent, and it has been somewhat promoted and legalized by government. When it comes to the issue of abortion, the health of the mother comes first. She has the right to choose to live, and God willing, produce other children. If the pregnancy threatens her health, she has the right to protect her health and abort that which is threatening her life. So she has that right. The first right is the right to life. So there should not be an abortion restriction on women whose health and the health of the fetus is threatened by medical conditions. Also, the assault of rape. That's a very, very, very deep emotional offense to carry. Rape. And she has a decision as to if she becomes pregnant from such an atrocious act that will affect her the rest of her life. She has the right as to whether she will carry that child to term. In those instances, I side on the side of women that they have the right not to put their life at risk with an unhealthy pregnancy that may take their life, and also carrying the trauma of rape and incest. She has a decision to make, and that decision is hers alone to make. But she has to live with that. You know, as far as equality, in Islam, let me say this here. There are large numbers of people taking a look at Islam as a religion due to them witnessing what is taking place in occupied Palestine.
Oh, that's definitely a hot issue. That is going to make a major impact on this election.
Right, and that have whetted the curiosity of people. Let me see, what is this religion? Look at these people. Look at how their faith is sustaining them. They are still praying in the midst of being bombed. Their children torn to pieces. And as a consequence of witnessing that, people are taking a look at the faith of those people. They purchase a Quran. They purchase a volume on the life of the Prophet Muhammad. We pray the prayers and the peace upon him. And the majority of the conversion is coming from females.
Let me ask this question.
Because they find in the scripture liberation. They find freedom based upon the true teachings of our religion, despite the biases of males.
Well, that's
what the Creator has said.
Well, that's the thing I'd like to address.
Entering in droves, the women are. Now, who would choose to enter into oppression if oppression was found there?
Well, let me ask this question, Brother Kareem, because this is a major point here. You have the words from the Creator that speak of love and kindness and caring for orphans and all of these wonderful things that if your heart is open to hearing a message of love, that's what you're going to hear. But then you have the same book being read by people who have centuries and centuries of traditions of oppression of women, and they read those same words and interpret them to mean something different. So
that is different from what God has revealed.
That's in every religion, though. Every religion has the truth as its foundation, but then it has the attitudes of the people. How do you rectify that?
As long as we ignore the pattern that Almighty God has set for us, we will continue to have 70% of the foundation of human life. You can have 70% single-headed households. We build our life on the foundation of husband and wife and family. So we cannot license sin. We cannot legalize sin. We will not legalize sin. The Prophet Muhammad, the prayers and the peace be upon him, there are levels of hadith. Hadith is the sayings and the ways of the Prophet Muhammad. We pray the prayers and the peace upon him. And there is a designated portion of hadith that is labeled as hadith Qudsi. That these sayings are not coming from the mind of Muhammad. This is Almighty God speaking through Muhammad to us. And it's not canonized. And in the hadith Qudsi, it is written that the Prophet Muhammad said, goodness is, badness, wrong, is that which wavers in the heart, even though a legal opinion has been rendered. So you can't legislate morality. That was tried.
That's true.
In terms of alcohol, and it failed miserably.
Can't make people stop drinking or doing drugs.
It is the state of the person's heart.
Yes. That is where everything comes from.
We don't want to elevate those entities that separate the male from the female and destroy family life. We should, as human beings, as human beings, as Kofi said, a person that was advocated homosexuality, he said to them, well, without this process, you wouldn't be here. You would not exist.
Well, we got to take a break, our last break. But when we come back, I'd like us to be able to have that discussion about what is the foundation? Treat others as you wish to be treated. And if we did that, if we really did that in terms of love, honor, and respect all beings, then all of these problems that we have created, trying to control people, condemning people, repressing people, oppressing people, none of it would exist if we just did that. Treat others as you wish to be treated. If you don't want to be violated by having someone touch your body, enter your body, deposit seeds in your body that you didn't want, well, if they were following that, then that would not be an issue. And if we were treating people the way we wish to be treated, if a woman who has a child and for whatever reason is not married, if she were not cast out, shamed, neglected, then even the issue of abortion in those situations would not occur. Why are women needing or feeling like they need abortions if it's not a matter of rape or incest or the life of the mother? It's because of the way society treats her and not supporting her if she has a child and the father does not support her or whatever. But what if we didn't do that? What if we stopped mistreating women who are single mothers? Then maybe they would not feel like their option is abortion because they would know that they're going to get community support to help raise a child, even if the father is dysfunctional or dead or whatever the case may be.
You know, Naima, as I said, everything becomes a hammer and a nail. Everything becomes a hammer and a nail when you take
when you're a hammer, everything becomes a nail.
That's how you view the world. God gives us instruction out of His mercy and His love for us.
So if we would just treat each other right,
that's for us. And plus, here's one more thing: treat people like you want to be treated.
Right.
Wait, please, just let me. The way I see people treating themselves, I don't want them to treat me like that.
Right.
So that statement there.
That's it.
It needs some clarification.
That's it. I mean,
some people that desire wrong.
So
and they take that out. They do that to themselves. So no, we need to get back to what Almighty God has said to us to make us successful on this earth. There is a formula, there is a pattern. It is called the Thetra, the natural pattern of human life, of human beings. Now, I'm for this here. The homosexuals can have all the freedom they want. I will not prohibit them from going to the hellfire if that's what they choose to do. But don't make it government policy.
Well, I have a
policy. As far as education, that's an abomination to have a drag queen visit our schools to influence our children.
You know, and we got to take a break after this, but you know, and Wendy, we're gonna bring you back to talk about this. When they were making decisions as to who to choose as a vice president, and you can believe the conversation came up because Secretary Buttigieg is a homosexual, and you can believe that the thought was, what is the voting power of that population? Because if they determined that was a voting bloc that could tip the scales in this election, he would have been chosen as the vice president. And those are the decisions that comes down. Who can bring the votes? And it got nothing to do with morality. And you can believe that conversation was had. Who has political clout? That is all that matters in selecting that vice president, that running mate. Yes.
The mythical creature Dracula, if he can bring the majority of votes,
that's who's been the running mate. It is what it is. But we got to take our last break, and then we come back and we talk about this, because this is what's going to determine whether or not we can actually elect Kamala Harris president. All of these belief systems that we have. We got to take some callers on the line, and
let's discuss the elephant in the room.
Well, let's talk about that elephant.
In the room is the genocide that is occurring in occupied Palestine.
Well, let's talk about that, because we had some of our reporters out observing that protest, and that's real. So let's talk about all these issues when we come back, and we invite you to stick and stay. Don't stray away. You're listening to and watching The Female Solution. Ask the question, will America elect Kamala Harris president? Well, we've got attorney Wende Williams on the line to make some comments. And of course, we've got some callers that want to talk about that, because we have some serious emotional issues to overcome before we could even get to that point. let's talk about the elephant in the room when we come back after this quick break. So stay with us.
Hi, I'm Naima Latif, and if you're watching this, that means you're one of the 4.6 billion people from around the world who are using an electronic device to talk to people. In these times, people are using the internet to talk to everybody. Friends, neighbors, family members, co-workers. People are on their cell phones and computers all day long. Now, if you're in business, that is great news. That means you can sell your products and services all day long and never have to leave your home. All you need is a media connection, somebody to connect you to an audience. And that's why I'm talking to you today. We produce programs, and our audience members are people who shop. They buy clothes, food, beauty supplies, cleaning supplies, home repair, transportation services, child care services. Whatever you're selling, they need to buy it. We're your media connection. Just follow this link, and tomorrow you can sit back and relax at home while your business is making you money.
Hi, I'm Barbara.
I'm Cheryl.
And I'm Naima. We're three Black moms.
And in case you didn't notice the resemblance, we're also three sisters.
We're going to be coming to you every week, sharing our successes and our mistakes as we navigate our lives as moms, wives, sisters, daughters, and of course, Black women in today's world.
We'll talk about it all: race, politics, religion, economics, culture, and we'll take a look at everything from whether or not to use corporal punishment to how do you teach your children about sex.
Look for our upcoming book, Growing Up Charles. It's a personal story about our lives growing up in Maple Park on Chicago's South Side. I'm Barbara.
I'm Cheryl.
And I'm Naima. We're three Black moms. Follow us on Facebook and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Three Black Moms.
Ọlọ́dún ló máa mọ̀ọ́dún rẹ̀ lọ́dún. Fẹ́ àìtútù gbé tuntun dé. Yoruba 2024 Cultural Exchange Festival. Welcome to the 15th anniversary of the First Eye concert in the heart of Chicago. 2024 brings a celebration that speaks to the soul. We are diving deep into the roots of Yoruba heritage, exploring its global impact and vibrant spirit. From September 1st to September 6th, Chicago becomes a melting pot of culture and connection. Tí ọkùnrin, obìnrin, ọmọdé, àgbàlagbà á jọ wá papọ̀ láti ṣe àgbélárugẹ àṣà wa. I mean, whether you are a seasoned traveler or a curious explorer, there is something for you. Join us for immersive tours, thought-provoking discussions, and unforgettable performances. Àti pé nani nani. Feel the pulse of the city as we gather at the Malcolm X College Auditorium. A day filled with reading, style, and inspiration. On September 7th, we come together for a grand finale cultural award gala night, celebrating the incredible women who shape our world. Àgbájọ ọwọ́ báyìí la fi ń sọ̀yà, kémi gbé, kíwọ gbé.
And we are back. You're listening to and watching the Female Solution Global Radio TV show. I'm Naima Latif, along with our co-host Kareem Hamid and our American Muslim 360 family. And we have on our live line attorney Wende Williams, who has been in family law for 30 years, I believe it is, and is taking a look at this election and some of these serious issues happening. And one of the hot button issues is that war in Palestine. There have been protests outside of the United Center, in all the designated areas where protesters are making their voices known, that they are very angry at the Democratic Party for its support of Israel. And this is not something that's going to go away. It is going to decide whether or not the Democratic Party is able to get elected. This is a very, very unpopular war. It speaks to the fears that many have of Muslims, as well as the anger that the Muslims have at being subjected to genocidal treatment and having the world community confused about who is at fault. And a lot of it has to do with misinterpretations and misteachings in the book that many Christians follow, the Bible, as if there is a chosen people above all people who deserve a land that is not theirs. So you have people who have historically occupied a land being pushed out because of a political policy of people who are not even the ancestors of that land. We talk about that in our book, Slavery, the African American Psychic Trauma, where we're looking at the history of the Jewish people and then those who converted to Judaism and decided after World War II they were going to occupy the land that belonged to the people who actually are the descendants of those born in that land. And there's a lot of confusion about that. And so the forcing of the Palestinians off their homeland is at the root of this current conflict. And it isn't going to go away. And because you have people who are confused about history and genetics, who actually are orchestrating this policy, we're seeing a lot of emotion. And you have a lot of anti-Muslim sentiment from people who, again, are confused as to the history. You have a lot of fears. You have people who have swallowed misinterpretations of biblical scriptures or just basic political lies because people want to take over land that's not theirs and claim some kind of historical connection to it, and they don't have any. And we talk about that in our book, Slavery, the African American Psychic Trauma. We basically give you some history about that and the fact that those who are claiming rights to the land are not the historic heirs to it. And so this is why there is conflict. And the Muslims are demanding the right to the land and the stopping of the oppression of the Palestinian people. And we in America are experiencing.
There are Christians that are Palestinian that are also being slaughtered.
Absolutely. And this is about a genocidal policy that America has co-signed.
It's not a religious war.
It's about land. It's always about land. And so this is an issue that is going to make a difference in this election because America always sides with people who are in their financial interests. That's something that we have to address as a nation. And do we have the decency as a human family to stop allowing people to create genocide on other people? We have to, as a human family, decide that we're not going to be goaded into accepting genocide because someone has financial
interest in keeping someone else in a position of powerlessness. So a lot of the things that we hear on the news is distorted information based on who are the financial interests that finance the information we hear on the news. But the people who are protesting during this election, they're not going to elect a Democratic Party that is backing their exodus from their homeland. Those who are either supporting the Palestinian cause or simply want to see justice and fairness in a region where people have been removed from their homeland. And we in the religious community on both sides are being manipulated by the absence of factual information. So the protests that are going on outside of this ongoing Democratic convention will probably heat up as time goes on. And we need to know what the underlying issues are so that we can make proper choices. And the next administration in America needs to make the right choice in restoring the homeland to a people that was forced off their homeland. And this is a very intense situation.
You know, Naima?
Yes.
What is being done in occupied Palestine is the same formula, the same pattern that was utilized in the formation of this real estate that we're on. There was a genocide enacted on the indigenous people.
Mm-hmm.
There were millions of human beings living in this area of the earth. And it was governmental policy to clear the land. Clear the land did not mean cut down bushes and trees. It meant
kill
to
the people,
kill, to slaughter the indigenous people of this land. So this is a formula that has been utilized long before the issue of Palestine and Zionism. This is a formula that the oppressors of human beings have utilized. And we have to see that pattern. And it's not confusing. The world is standing up. The human being is standing up, protesting the genocide that they are witnessing in real time. And the Democratic platform, in some of their policy statements, is that they give 100% support to the Zionist government in Israel. There is no change in policy, not the fuzzy, feel good moment that they are displaying at the convention, the emotional expression and all of that. The policy has not changed. The policy has not changed. And the president does not, how can I say it? He's controlled by forces that are more powerful than him. That's more powerful than that office. So we have to vote our conscience. We are witnessing. We are looking at the slaughter of babies, children, the elderly, men, women, churches bombed, mosques bombed. We're at a juncture in the life of the human being whereby we shall be judged as to what we will support. And me, I'm like this here. If the devil invites me to a party, am I going to come? I'm not going.
Well, we got a couple of callers here. Yeah, let's see if we can squeeze them in before we've got to go. Because there's some hot issues. Let's go first to, I think we had 773-450 and then 336-350. Let's go to 336-350. talk to Mama AZ. Grand Rising. Thank you for joining us on this edition of the Female Solution. Go ahead with your question or comment.
Grand Rising, Dr. Lateef and family, and Sister Wende Williams. I think I heard her say something about Arizona, the policies on abortion. It never occurred to me to look into that, but I think that's what she said. Something about, I'm not clear on that, and I would like for her to deliver what she said about the policy on abortion in Arizona. I'm going to look it up. And thank you, Dr. Lateef, for this powerful show. Today is a 1. If you have digits up, that's planting seeds and dropping knowledges. And the next thing, right quick, what I wanted to ask you, did I hear you say that it's about the votes, even though it's not, it's sinful to have drag queens rolling up in the schools, the libraries, and oh man, I want to throw up when I see that. But anyway, did I hear you say it's about the votes and morality is thrown?
It's always about the votes.
Window?
It's always about the votes. Who has the voting population that can put a person in power? And that is what is calculated in politics. That's what politics is about. And Attorney Wende Williams, of course, is with us. And she's run for office a few times. Can you give us some insight on that? We have on our screen, Zelda, our Monday morning mindfulness host, says, Grand Rising, wise ones. Only time will tell if we're making the right decisions for Americans' future, which affects the entire world. Yes, it does. This is going to affect the world. So, Wende, you had said something about abortion in Arizona. Mama AZ wanted to know about. I'm sorry. Yes. Yes, I hear you now. Yes.
Okay. Is that better?
Yes.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I hear you now. Yes.
Yeah. Only this. The Roe v. Wade decision was important because different states had different laws, and there was an attempt to have some uniformity with regard to that. When Roe v. Wade was overturned, then each state landed on laws that existed. So some of these laws were 1849, 1860s, this issue of abortion and women getting control of their birth rate, which is really what this is all about. Because once a woman gets control of her health and her birth rate, she can manage her own life. You know, so much in the past has been determined by the head of the household, which was a male. But once women got control of their birth rate, in the later centuries of America, in the 20th and the 21st century, that changed the power dynamic. To even have a Shirley Chisholm, to even have a Geraldine Ferrara, to even have a Hillary Clinton, to even have a now Kamala Harris.
Yes.
It's getting control of your life, your health, your economics. Because once a woman could control her birth rate, she could also control her income. And once she controls her income, then she can make decisions for herself. Now, in my opinion, it's understandable what has existed before now, but the problem is always the perversion of the domination.
90 seconds.
Yes.
See, I don't want to go out on the front line and fight a battle while I'm pregnant. I just don't want to. That's just me, Wendy, personally. But if I have no control over my income because I can't meet that battle, then I have to wait
wait, and that's what I have to do.
Well, Wendy,
when women got control of that, birth rate, and women got control of their income, that's when real separation began.
Absolutely, and that's really what it comes down to: control.
A husband could no longer rape his wife.
Wow. And that issue,
that was in the 80s.
Yes. Well, we're running out. We're out of time now. But I do want to thank you, Wendy, for coming on, and we're looking to hear from you on a regular basis on the Female Solution with political commentary, because we do need some insight. And we invite you all to go to On Air DailyNews.com to follow us as we continue to cover this election. And thank you, Kareem, as always, and thank you to the American Muslim 360 family. Of course, this situation is not over. We'll be talking about it again as we see what happens in the weeks to come. Absolutely. So we thank you all so very much. And we will continue. And we will continue to keep you posted in the days to come. I'm Naima Latif, and you've been watching and listening to the Female Solution Global Radio TV show. And we'll be back continuing on for the rest of the week. And of course, we invite you to go to the archives and hear our shows and leave your comments on our Facebook and YouTube channel. And until next time, we want you to continue to shine your light. We've come to the end of our show today. If you missed any broadcasts, go to our website for the audio and video archives at www.thefemalesolution.com. On behalf of our team of radio hosts, I'd like to thank all of you who participated in today's discussions. And to our global family joining us from all around the world, we say thank you. To our family in China, xie xie. India, Dhanyavad. Japan, arigato. Korea, kamsamnida. Russia, spasiba. Germany, danke. Poland, dziękuję. France, merci. Spain, gracias. Italy, grazie. Egypt, shukran. Ghana, madasi. Nigeria, eshe. South Africa, ngiyabonga. Senegal, jareh. Kenya, asante. Israel, toda. Pakistan, shukriya. Afghanistan, tashakur. Saudi Arabia and Palestine, shukran. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Thank you, and may peace be upon you and the mercy of God and God's blessings.